Hey friend, welcome to the Halfway to Dead podcast. I'm your host, Jen Lovell. Listen, you and I have reached that age where we are done with the bullshit. We know that midlife is our chance to flip the script and experience life on our own terms. It's time to reconnect with our higher selves and reclaim our inner peace. Are you ready with an open heart and an open mind? Awesome, you're in the right place. Hop in and ride shotgun with me on this midlife spiritual journey. Hey, friends. Jen coming to you here, and guess what? We're unexpectedly riding solo together today. And why do I say unexpectedly? Because for the first time, good old J-Lo Jen here had to stop an interview, kick my guest to the curb, and it was a no. I'm sorry. I don't know how else to put it, but we're going to go over this. I'm going to tell you what happened. But first, I want to just give you a little insight. I want to draw back the curtain on this whole podcast thing and tell you a couple things to give you a little background before I tell you what went down today for me. Because this is fresh. This happened today. And I was like, oh, hell no. While this is fresh, we're going to talk about it. First, what I want to talk about, though, is I love looking at my stats. So I get these little reports that show, like, I don't know who exactly is listening, but I know where they're located at as far as country, state, city, that kind of business. So my favorite thing when I'm looking through stats, I don't really worry a lot about the numbers because I'm not up over here with the goal of going viral and getting an invite to the Kardashians' house. Okay? No, that's not the goal here. This is a part of my own spiritual journey, and I hope it's helping you guys out too. But my exciting thing for me is looking and seeing when new countries, especially, pop up in the old charts when people are listening. My numbers are getting higher in New Zealand and Australia. So I want to give a shout out to my New Zealand and my Australia friends. It's weird how this world works because I just noticed it yesterday. But prior to that, early in the week, I just changed. I don't know if you guys know you can do this, but I changed my Siri voice. You know, my iPhone Siri, who like sometimes does what you want her to, sometimes doesn't. Anyway, her voice was irritating me. I don't know why, but I was sick of her. So I changed her voice to my favorite accent in the world, which is an Australia, New Zealand-y accent. So I switched Siris. And then I see that like my numbers are going up in New Zealand and Australia. So shout out to you guys. I love seeing numbers go up. And I love when a new country pops up. I don't care if there's one person listening. I have some people in Saudi Arabia listening. And my top places obviously are US, Canada, and the UK. All right, those are my top three. But I have a lot of other countries in there, you guys. And it's very exciting. Now, let me give you some behind the scenes on this whole process of how I prepare for my guests. Just a little background insight. So when I tell you what happened today, you kind of get it. All right. So I find guests in a few different ways. I either know them personally. I know someone that knows them personally. Maybe they're recommended by you guys or a previous guest. And then now I've been doing this long enough that people are reaching out to me. They either reach out to me individually or I don't know if you guys know this, but there are companies out there that you can hire if you would like to be a guest on podcasts. Whether you're an author, a motivational speaker, whatever you got going on, whatever business or whatever thing you're doing, if you decide you want to do the rounds and be on different podcasts, there are these companies you can hire and they will reach out for you and connect you with hopefully podcasts that are a match for your material. This is how this person came to me. So typically what happens is they reach out an email and they send the person's links and what's called a one sheet. So the one sheet has on it their bio, their photo, suggested topics, suggested questions you could ask them, all this kind of stuff. So typically, if I'm going to use a guest and just so you know, I don't respond to all of these no matter how they come to me. And I really kind of do take it serious who comes on the show. So with that said, this person came to me via a representative and I got a one sheet and I did some quick research. Admittedly, I did not do as deep of a dive as I normally would have, but I needed someone for this particular week and it looked good on paper. I was like, yeah, let's do it. Here's what I usually do. Whether I'm reaching out to someone or they're reaching back to me to be on the show, I typically do a vibe check, whether that's asking other people that know them or I research them online, whatever. I do a vibe check. I see how it feels in my body. I'll even sometimes meditate or pray on it. Like, is this person a fit? Should I reach out to this person? And even before I reach out and send them an email or whatever I'm going to do, I'll take a minute to do a quick meditation. Please allow this email to be received well. I kind of skipped out on some of that with this one. And another red flag, it got rescheduled like 3 times. She was sick. I was sick. My internet went out completely one day. Just everything was happening. The universe was saying this probably shouldn't happen, and I didn't listen. And she didn't have a book, so there wasn't a book to read. She doesn't have her own podcast, so there wasn't a podcast to listen to. It was just some online links to that, and she seemed like, yeah, I'll find something good and helpful for me and all my friends. That was my plan going into this. Okay, so let me tell you what happened today to me. I'm still a little bit flustered about it. And I'll just tell you ahead of time, after this went down, I felt my vibe seriously drop. Okay. And so I got done with this and I took a minute. I had to take a minute, you guys, to really think about the situation. So, like, whatever lessons need to be learned were learned so I don't do this again. I had to go outside and do a little grounding. I had to chill for a minute. I had to think it through. I had to be pissed off, have a whole conversation with my dog about it. Yeah, I had to work through it. So I'm recording now because I just want to get some of these thoughts out to you guys because it sparked some things for me, this whole experience. Let me just briefly tell you what happened. So I'm interviewing this person and I'm not going to tell you her name. I'm not going to give her any airtime because, frankly, she doesn't deserve it. This is my opinion. Yes, she's allowed to have her opinions and do whatever she wants, but this is my podcast and I will present who I would like to present. So she's, we're talking, we're going on, and I'm not loving the things out of her mouth, but I'm like, no, you know what? There has to be a reason she's on this episode. We're going to dig in. I'm going to do my job as a host here, and I'm going to try and guide this in a better direction. Well, she wasn't taking direction, guys. It was this kind of personality. Okay. She was going to say what she wanted to say. She was very opinionated, very judgmental. She wanted to tell me and you, all my listeners, what we should be doing. And it didn't sound like a suggestion either. And I didn't love it. So she's talking. I'm trying to salvage this thing and refocus her. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I might have to edit a lot of this out. This is going to be a short one. Whatever. Let's just get done with this, Jen. Well, it's not going anywhere that I want it to go. So she's still talking. And while she's talking, I'm doing the head tilt. You know, the head tilt that our dogs do when we're talking to them when they're trying to figure out what we're saying. And it's really cute. You're like, oh my God, you're so cute with the head tilt. Yeah, I wasn't looking cute with my head tilt. But again, she doesn't read a room well, this woman, because I'm looking at her like, what is happening? What are you saying? So I stopped listening. She's still talking. I kind of stopped listening to go in internally here. I usually have my pendulum fairly close to me. I grab my pendulum and I'm connecting with my angels, my spirit guides, all my peeps. And I'm saying, what's happening? What do I need to do? Is there validity in what she's saying? Do I need to be the one that needs to be more open-minded? Am I the one closed off here? And I was getting like, no, Jen, you're not. This isn't a fit for you and your podcast. And so, I mean, I was even like, should I end this now? Should I scrap the whole thing? And my pendulum was like, yeah, you should. Well, I was still feeling kind of guilty. I don't take it lightly that people are investing some time in my podcast to be here and be a guest and all of these things. I really appreciate it, typically. So I'm still debating about this. But at this point, I'm going, no, I got to do something here. Okay. Because the things out of her mouth aren't great. And I don't agree with any of them. So I remember my recent guest, Barbara. If you haven't listened to Barbara's episode, I think it's maybe episode 45. It's within the last couple episodes from this one. Okay. And I remember her talking about, what does this feel like in our body? Getting out maybe a pocket phrase or two, figuring out how to take a pause and figure out how to handle the situation instead of jumping straight into a decision. I'm learning from all my guests, and my recent ones were more recent. Yeah, she was still in my head. First of all, how does this feel in my body? Now she's still talking, you guys. She's right. I don't even know what she was saying anymore because I was tuned out. So I am like, how does this whole interview and this person feel in my body? And my stomach was in such tight knots. I mean, like, TMI, but I was like, I feel like I could shit my pants right now. That's how bad my stomach feels. And so I was like, okay, so my body knows that this is a no. How do I handle it? So I say, excuse me, so and so, I just need a minute, a quick break. I'll be right back. I get up. I don't leave the room. I just get to the other side of the camera. Okay. Because even though this is audio for you guys, I'm also doing video. I'm face to face with my guests while I talk because I don't want to talk to a black screen. Okay. So I go behind. I'm still in the same room. I have not turned off the video or the audio. I'm assuming maybe she thought I did. I don't know. But I go around and I'm standing and I'm okay, what do I do? I'm thinking to myself, like, how do I word this? How do I say this? I'm again questioning myself. I'm saying, like, is it me though? Am I being close-minded? Is there some validity to anything she's saying? Is there something that someone out there needs to hear that she's saying? Okay, so I'm still trying to give this woman a benefit of the doubt, but I'm also trying to figure out how to get out of this. How do I respectfully tell her it's a wrap and I'm not using this episode? And then I hear this. So I don't know who she's talking to. Someone in her, I don't know if she's in her office or her home or what, but she's talking to someone and I hear the N word. Huh. You know the N word. I'm not going to say it, but you know it. She was being racist. Let's just say that. So for the record, I don't do the N word. I don't like others to use it around me. I never allowed my children to say it. I don't even like music that says it. And I know culturally, I guess some people are allowed to say it and some people aren't. It depends what crowd you're in, what your own ethnicity is. I don't know what the rules are to it. I just know my rule is it doesn't come out of my mouth and I don't like it to come out of anyone's mouths around me. Listen, culturally, it was not appropriate for her. This is a white as snow woman from what I would only assume is like from the Bible Belt. I don't know, because she was not spiritual. She was religious. So she misrepresented herself, basically. And I'm thinking, did she even listen to any episodes? Did she do any research on me or what? Because she would have known we're not a fit, but here she sat. So, and I take responsibility. I should have known she wasn't a fit. Anyway, I hear the N word out of her mouth. And that's it. Anything I was questioning in my mind, that's done. This was a done deal. I whip back around, back into my little podcast chair in front of the camera, and I say, did I just hear you say the N word? And she's, what? Huh? You know, like she didn't know I could hear that. I said, did you just say the N word? I said, actually, I don't even need you to answer that. I know what I heard. And I'm just going to say right now that you and I are on different paths. And I certainly wish you well on your journey, but this interview's over and I'm not going to be using any of this footage. And she's trying to, I don't know, she thinks this is a discussion about it. But I said, let me stop you there. This isn't up for discussion. This is my podcast and part of my journey. And so this is, you and I, this is a no. And I clicked the little red hang up button on my screen. And I was flustered, you guys. This was a lot for me because I've never had to do this before. And typically I get along with most people. I pride myself on one of my good attributes in being that I get along with a lot of people. I can connect with a lot of different type of people genuinely. It's not an act. I really can connect with the CEO of a Fortune 500 company and also like the homeless woman on the corner living in a tent. I genuinely have an interest in connecting with all sorts of different people. Okay. I love having an open mind and I love hearing things, but the stuff out of this woman's mouth was not something I could tolerate. And it wasn't something meant for any of you listening. So it sparked a couple things for me because here's the vibe I got from her. I won't go into all the things that she was saying because I don't think that they deserve any airtime. But if you can imagine, I got the vibe like this. This happened to me recently too. So, you know, the door-to-door, I call them door-to-door religion salesmen. You know, the ones that show up on your door dressed in their Sunday best with a handful of pamphlets. So this is the vibe she was giving me. I felt like I had a religion salesman in front of me. And okay, let me tell you about these two that came to my door, my religion salesman recently. And they were young. I mean, fresh out of Sunday school, whatever the process is. They were 18 to 20, I'm going to guess. And they come to my door. I don't always even answer, but I was like, why not? So I open the door and start their spiel, right? Like, hi, they hit it right out of the box. It was like, do you know Jesus personally? And all of this business. And I said, I do. I said, I totally do, you guys. I said, I'm actually really, really good with that. I have a personal relationship with God, Jesus, all the angels, my spirit. I said, I'm good. I'm good. How about you? I just throw it back. I like to just throw it back at people sometimes. How about you? How you doing? And they don't know what to say. They don't know what to do with me, which I get. So anyway, they're spouting their stuff off. And they're like, but are you sure? Basically, are you sure you're not going to burn in the depths of hell? And I said, I'm very, very sure. I am. I'm very sure that I'm good. I'm actually excited to be back in God's love again someday. Still, they didn't know what to do with me, you guys. This is not, I don't know. They hadn't practiced this script, I guess. So I'm just trying to end this thing because at this point, I got to move on with my day and this is going nowhere fast. I'm not inviting them in to chit chat. So I say, hey, you know what? It seems like you guys are on a very specific path in your life. And that's great. I hope it's the right one for you. I think my path is very different than yours. And and here's where I got a little snarky, and I probably didn't need to say this in hindsight, but I'm human, whatever. I said, so I think that your path is back down my driveway into your car now. They still didn't, and they're just wide-eyed. And I was like, I probably didn't need to say that, did I, Jen? But it was said, and I didn't know what to say. And so they're still looking at me. I said, you know what? I feel like you guys need closure. And so would you like me to take your pamphlet? And she holds out her pamphlet because I know this is their main goal. Get the pamphlet in the hands of the sinners out there, right? Let's save this woman today. So I took the pamphlet. I said, okay, good luck, girls. Good luck on your journey. I'll see you later. And I shut the door. So I got this vibe from this woman again today. And I'm like, what is happening out in what's going on? Why? So this, along with the fact that sometimes I have people ask me, I've said before on the podcast, I've had people ask me, like, so do you still feel like it's okay to pray to God? So do you still pray and talk about Jesus? I don't know what people are thinking Jen's doing over here. Okay. So this has prompted me to just do my own little testimonial here. And I just want to let everyone know what my core beliefs are. So if you're going to be a future guest or if you're a listener or whatever, I feel like I need to let everybody know where I stand on things. If you're a follower, if you've been listening to all these, you probably have a real good idea what it is. But I'm just going to throw out my core beliefs currently. And I say currently because I reserve the right to change. I believe that we all have the right to change and grow. And because I think when we stop doing that, our journey's done. We're not learning anything else. And I don't think that's the point of this lifetime. I try and give myself permission to change my mind because I can. And so can you. So let me just run this down for you real quick. I'll just tell a brief little story. I got a million stories, you guys, but let me just tell you a little something about my upbringing. So I was brought up in the Christian religion. My parents were divorced, so they each went to separate churches. My mom went to like a Protestant church, okay? A UCC, United Church of Christ. My dad was a little bit more hardcore with the religion. He was a pretty strict Nazarene for a while. Then he just went kind of like evangelical type of religion. So every other weekend, I went to a different church because when I was with my dad, obviously I had to go to his. When I was with my mom, I had to go to hers. And this is a core memory for me because back in those days, I don't know if they're still doing this at the Sunday schools, but you would get awards for perfect attendance. And I never got one damn reward, even though I was in Sunday school and church every Sunday, because they were little sticklers, those Sunday school teachers. Because I would say to them, I'm at Sunday school every week. I have to go to my dad's next week. I can't be here. I don't have any control over this. And, because we're kids, we don't have control over our lives really. So they didn't care. They didn't care. Anyway, I never got an award. And clearly I'm not over it. Oh, I am. But no, it's still a core memory for me. So this is how I was brought up. My dad was, again, more strict. I did not have to adhere to it as strictly because I lived with my mom most of the time. So I didn't really have to adhere closely to all of it. And when I say adhere to closely all of it, there was stints where it was a sin to paint your nails. It was a sin to get your ears pierced. It was, the simple things all the way to you will burn in the depths of hell if you have sex before marriage. You need to have a skirt on that's well below your knees. At one point there was a burning where my brother and my stepsister that lived with my dad had to burn their books and their music and anything that was secular, that wasn't considered Christian. So that's just a little scenario of my background, you guys. So, and also, this followed into adulthood for me because I was a Sunday school teacher when my kids were little. I ran Vacation Bible School at the church I was at the time. I ran the nursery for a while so people could go worship and I would help take care of their children in the nursery. I was all in on this religion thing, okay? The transition out of that took a minute. So if you're there, it's okay. I get it. I totally get it. So that's the tiniest bit of history. I got a lot of stories and I got a lot of things, but not today. We don't need to do that today. So with that in mind, I just want to tell you my core beliefs now, here, today. So number one, I believe that we are all connected through the oneness. What is the oneness? I call it God. I know some people call it source, universe, whatever. I believe it's all the same thing. I think we're all just putting a word to the same thing. Okay. And I think we're all part of the oneness, which for me represents that we all have a little piece of God inside of us, which connects us all in oneness. Whether you like the person, don't like the person, you're related, you're not related, we are all part of the oneness. This is my belief. Okay. And along with that, that means that we are all equal. So I do not tolerate, as was the case with the interview today, I do not tolerate in my world anymore anyone being marginalized for any real reason. This includes racism, LGBTQ, and guess what? This also relates to Karen, Karen, the white lady from the Bible Belt who's judging everybody and is overzealous religion. It extends to her too. I believe she has a place and a meaning on this earth, just like the rest of us. I believe she is as equal with me as everyone else. That's not always easy either, to consider people equal that are, what I would consider not great people. Okay. All right. However, I do also believe that once a person shows you what path they're on, what they're doing, we have the choice then to include them in our lives or not. We're all on separate paths, but I think we can decide whose paths are running closely with ours and who's not. So, yes, I'm accepting of everyone's path, but I am not accepting of every single one of those people being a part of my life and my path. Okay? And on top of that, I firmly believe that we need to stay in our own lane, our own path. This is part of the not being judgmental, not worrying about what everybody else is doing. I think we need to stay in our lane and make sure that we stay authentic. Okay? Because I do believe before we came to earth, we had a little meeting. I believe we had a little sit down. Me, God, my angels, my spirit guides, my past ancestors, whoever's involved in this. We sat down and made a plan. I think we made a plan for me to come here and some lessons I needed to learn and the ways in which that may happen. Free will, I get it, which is why we can get off the plan we made. But I believe that God and I had a plan together for this whole life. We all just need to authentically continue with the plan, if at all possible. Okay? Authenticity for me looks like being kind, helping others, giving back, staying true to my own beliefs. Because I think, and I said this before, when we know better, we do better. So some people don't know any better, and I have to just give them grace and say, I don't think they know any better. I hope they learn it, but I'm not going to help them learn it because that's not my path. So when we know better, we do better. And I also believe if you can, you should. If you can help someone in need, you should. If you have extra money at the end of the month and someone's in need, you should. You should help. And that doesn't have to be monetarily. If you can help someone, you should. Even if it's, hey, I'm going to help this elderly person get their groceries in the back of their car. Doesn't cost any money. You can do this, you guys. So this is part of my core belief system. I also believe in past lives. And this is a tricky one for some people because I told you my background. This was not part of how I was raised. Past lives. You do the best you can in this life, and then you go to heaven and you just frolic around happily forever. Or you don't do what you were trained and you go roast in the depths of hell. We'll get to that in a minute. But I do believe in past lives. I believe I personally and most people have had multiple lives. I don't even think they're all here on earth. Okay? I think we have there's so many things out there that we don't know purposefully because I believe that our experience on earth was meant for us to forget all the things, about the oneness and God's love and what's going on the other side, because we wouldn't learn lessons if we knew all of that. We wouldn't roll through this life the same way. This is my belief. I'm just telling everybody where I'm at. I consider myself spiritual, not religious. What does that mean? Because I've been religious in my life already. So let me just tell you the definition of spirituality. Spirituality generally refers to a person and an individualized quest for meaning, purpose, and connection to something greater than oneself. It often emphasizes personal experiences and inner transformation, okay, versus the definition of religion. Religion typically involves organized systems of beliefs, practices, and rituals centered around the worship of a higher power or deity, often have established doctrines, sacred texts, and formal institutions. So for me, spirituality allows me to incorporate from various philosophies, traditions, practices, while maintaining a fully spiritual outlook. This approach allows for a unique perspective for me that doesn't really fit within a particular religious framework. Because I'm not even going to get into it, but there are so many things that I was raised in Christianity believing that just don't hold true for me anymore. And also other religions that I've learned about. There are things that don't hold true for me there either. I haven't never found one religion that was like, all of it rang true for me. And so for me, my path is spirituality. And that doesn't mean that I'm wearing all black, doing satanic rituals with a bunch of upside down crosses in my house. This isn't a thing, you guys. That is not spirituality. Okay. That's like Satanism or something. I don't know. That's its own kind of religion. So I'm not participating in that, you guys. Okay. So let me just tell you what I believe. I believe that I can directly connect with God, angels, spirit guides, my past loved ones, our ancestors, and the ascended masters, which include for me, Jesus, or as he's called in ancient texts, Yeshua. We came up with this whole Jesus thing. So I've got episodes coming because I'm no theologian. I don't have degrees in this. I haven't heavily researched every religion, all this, but I have people coming that are going to help us sort this out. But for me, now in my current journey, I feel closer and more individually connected with God, Jesus, angels, etc., much more than I ever have been when I was practicing religion. Okay? Let me just quickly hit this Jesus thing because I know this is a little bit of point of contention for people. I think Jesus is amazing. I believe that he and God had a plan for his life here on earth, a big plan. I think he was sent here to teach us some really amazing things, to be more in that Christ-like consciousness. That's why he was here. I think we have misinterpreted a few things. We're human. Mistakes happen. And of course, they happened in this realm too. So I'm going to leave it at that. He's amazing. Do I still celebrate Christmas, Easter, and all that? Of course I do, because I believe Jesus is totally worth celebrating as many times a year as you want to. I also think there's other ascended masters and things that deserve to be celebrated also, because I believe that all religions head in the same direction. I think we all head back to the oneness. We all head back to God's love. I think most religions got a lot of things right, and I also think they got a lot of things wrong. If we'd stop all arguing about it, we're all on the same page. We're all in the oneness. We're all connected to God. Also, do I believe in hell? I do not believe in hell anymore. I think it's a scary way for religious leaders and the people who've decided what made it into the sacred texts, etc., decided to tell us, to train us, to put fear in us. Now, with that said, do I think that we all frolic around in the same place when we get to the other side? Do I think Jeffrey Dahmer and I are going to meet up and chill together? No, I don't. Because I believe we ascend. We're supposed to be learning lessons and ascending in each lifetime. I'm hoping that through this lifetime, I'm ascending a little bit higher, a little bit closer to God, a little bit closer to that whole Jesus level. I'm nowhere near there, but I believe we're ascending to that point. So me and the serial killers aren't going to be hanging out on the other side, because they've got a different path. That's between them and God and their spirit team of how to do better next time and to learn the lessons and ascend. This is what I believe. We're slowly trying to do better to get closer to what God's intended for us. This is where I'm at with it, you guys. So I don't believe anyone's going to burn in the depths of hell. I mean, it took a while to wrap my brain around this. Okay, this isn't oh, okay, Jen, we're on board too. I get it. Like, this is a process. This is a real big process. But for me, this is where I currently am. I don't believe there's a hell that you just roast in forever. I believe God is love, pure love, and he only wants us to get better, learn the lessons, ascend higher. I do not identify with a specific religion. I consider myself spiritual, but I also have core beliefs from different religions. Okay. So I'll just say this one more time, and I've said it on the podcast before. One of the really great things about this spiritual journey for me and coming to a lot of these realizations and truths is the fact that I do not fear death at all. At all. Does that mean I'm prepared to die? I mean, I'm not ready to die today. I got a lot of things to do. I'm not done here, and I know that. But eventually I will be. We all will be, right? We're not immortal here. And I don't think I'd want to be. Who wants to hang out in this life forever? Come on, guys. Like people that are freezing themselves. I want to live forever, find the fountain of youth. No, thank you. No, thank you. I think that once in this lifetime's enough. And then I think God and I maybe could come up with another plan. Okay, this is where I'm going with it. So I don't want to die today, but I'm very, very excited about it to happen someday. I get jealous. This is weird. I get jealous sometimes hearing people's near-death experience stories, because I'm like, damn it, that sounds amazing. I want to feel that. I want to know those things. Which sounds stupid because, oh, you want to almost die, Jen? No, I don't. I really don't. But I cannot wait to get back to the other side in God's love, meet up with all of my deceased loved ones, chill out with God again, have some Jesus time. One of my favorite songs has always been a Christian song, I Can Only Imagine. I still love the song, regardless of my whole spiritual journey, because listen, me and Yeshua, me and Jesus, we're tight, and I can't wait to chill with him again, right? I can't wait to meet face to face with my spirit guides, to be fully connected with my higher self, to know all the things and to kind of like plan my next plan. I don't know. I'm a planner. I can't wait. So I have zero fear about crossing over to the other side. And just as a shout out to everybody, I like talking to you on the podcast. I like talking to people in person. And when I cross back over to the other side, hit me up. Seriously, go find you a legit psychic medium. Give me a little shout out. I'll come. I got things to say. I'm sure I still have things to say. I'll help you out. I'm ready to help people out from the other side. No problemo. So reach out to me. There you go. Yeah, I'm not trying to get morbid here because this is honestly, death is, we should be celebrating it a little bit more. And I know it doesn't feel like when we lose a loved one. I know that. I've been there. It's painful. It's painful, but this spiritual journey has put me in a place where I'm like, they're okay. They're more than okay. They're way better than I am. And I'm going to get back with them. I'm certainly going to reunite with them again. And again, this goes back to the reason I don't believe anyone's in hell. I think we're going to reunite with everybody that we need to reunite with. And I don't think that because you had sex before marriage, you're going to burn in hell. And I don't think that because you ate a piece of bacon, for some religions, you go, God frowns upon that and casts you into hell. I don't think if you die after you eat a ham sandwich, you're burning in the depths of hell. I just can't get on board with all of that, you guys. If you really think from an open mind about some of these, the religious doctrine and all of the different religions, you're like, what? What are you saying? Like, that doesn't make sense. And I don't think it's our place to judge any of that. And I also come from a place where I may not be right about everything I just told you guys. That's part of the open mind learning and growing. I might not be right. Duh. I'm probably not right. And I'm not going to figure that out till I get back over to the other side. But this journey is bringing to what I know in my body, mind, and spirit feel like the truths of my lifetime, of this lifetime. Okay? I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect, but I'm trying. That's all we have to do, you guys, is be authentic to what we were supposed to do in this lifetime and try to do better. Try to do better, you guys. So I've gone on a tangent with you guys here today, but I wanted to get this all out of my system because this woman threw me through a loop, this guest. I'm throwing this out, this whole little tangent and this whole little thing, so you guys have something to listen to, and it just felt right to do this. I mean, honestly, I would have rather not dropped an episode at all before I dropped any of her little gems of wisdom. So this felt like a good replacement. I don't know. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for letting Jen go on a little tangent. And I hope this clears up for people out there a little bit of where I'm at in my journey right now. You don't have to be in the same place as I am. But if we can understand each other a little better, and if we go through this life with an open heart and an open mind, we stay in our lane, we refrain from so much judgment, we let people do their thing that they planned between them and God, and we do our thing that we planned between us and God or source or whatever you're going with. Just be authentic and do your thing, guys. And you will have accomplished your purpose in this life, which I believe is authenticity to its fullest. And just doing the plan that you are supposed to be doing. Not what your neighbor's doing, not what your friend's doing, not what your spouse is doing, your authentic thing. Okay? That's it. My tangent's over. Thanks for sticking with me through this whole little thing. And I hope I gave you something to think about. I have more valid, good guests coming, you guys. Don't you worry. We got a lot coming up, a lot of cool stuff coming up. So stay with me and I'll see you soon. Listen, I know your time is valuable. And right now I'm feeling super grateful and totally humbled that you chose to hang out with me today. If this podcast resonates with you, could you do me a solid and hit that subscribe or follow button? That's going to help you out because you're never going to miss an episode. And it helps me out because you're never going to miss an episode. And if you have like 30 seconds more, could you leave a 5-star rating and maybe leave a kick-ass review? Thank you so much, and I can't wait to continue our journey on the next episode. Oh, and I can't forget the fine print. You know, the legal jargon. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. We're just two friends on this journey together, and this podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or any other qualified professional. You get it. See you next time.